Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and I've been using password managers for years. I came out with one with LastPass and their security issue, and Bitwarden has a flaw, and I saw this on Bleeping Computer and a few other places, but we'll look at the Bleeping Computer side of things and talk this through a little bit here. Let's see, let's make sure that this is all set up right. But Bleeping Computer here has a good explanation of this. So Bitwarden flaw allows hackers to steal the password using iframes. So this isn't so much that your password manager has been exposed. This is more of, hey, we have a problem here, and when you autofill your passwords in iframes, hackers can then steal that. So yeah, it's not good, but also it looks to be that Bitwarden has, since it is open source, it's very popular out there. They seem to have patched it. So a little bit, they put it as the unconditional autofill here. And what happens is that you have this domain, right? And then the browser extension autofills the login you see, but there's also like an attacker iframe as well on there, and that gets autofilled. So the attacker gets to basically siphon off those credentials when you're trying to log into this domain. Now, hopefully the domain itself isn't compromised and doesn't have a thing like that, but with everything out there today, you cannot guarantee that. So Bitwarden had a interesting response, which I didn't fully appreciate at first. I was kind of disappointed in it, and then as I've understood it more, especially since I've seen the updates come through, I like how they corrected it overall. So they did highlight that this is a potential risk, right? They have a warning now saying that the autofill is disabled, and they say it can be generally safe, right? It can be, but in the off chance it isn't, here you go. It can be autofill and siphon off that as well. So you'll see in the LastPass it says autofill on page load is turned off here, and you'll see that there was a second report about this handling from Flashpoint here. And so what happens is that going through all this other stuff, you can read through this, you know, it's some information, right? They wanted a better, short version is they wanted a better solution. And one thing about open source is that you can kind of iterate through this, and you can kind of heck, if you're in the open source community and you're a coder, you can even help fix it, right? And so Bitwarden had updated this and has informed Bleeping Computer that after careful consideration of the way the password autofill feature works, they've decided to address user concerns by eliminating that iframe attack vector while keeping the autofill functionality intact, which I think was the proper way of doing it. I didn't like the first one where they're kind of turning it off and their first response, but on 3.17 they actually then kind of fix this here. So they have an autofill page remains off by default. If a user enables autofill on page load, Bitwarden will only fill in iframes from trusted domains such as domains as the website or specific URLs that the user has proactively added to their item. So this is, I think, the best way to do it, right? Make sure that that iframe is actually from that website domain, not some third party where you don't know where it's from. And you still have the manual autofill, and that will fill in untrusted iframes. Bitwarden displays an alert for this that you're trying to fill in and unallow, and allows you to cancel or proceed. So there's a lot more checks here to make sure that you are informed of what's happening and make sure that you aren't going to be siphoned off by an unknown attacker. I think that this was the second response here is the right way of what Bitwarden should have did in the first place, but sometimes hindsight's 20/20. You get that user feedback and you're able to make that correction a little bit better here. So I'm glad to see how this, it was able to progress and be corrected as a not last pass. I got rid of that. As a Bitwarden user, it was important for me to see this be corrected because that's one thing I don't want is to have these passwords and usernames into somebody else's hands, which I don't really want. So let me know what your thoughts are. How would you maybe approach this differently? I like the ending of it a lot better than in the middle and trying to fix it. But as you notice that there on this article, it was a early March article, March 8th, and Bitwarden had a update with their on 317 to Bleeping Computer. So they had a fast turnaround. One thing I do really like is that they were upfront and got this out as soon as possible. It doesn't seem like there was a huge delay in it from what I'm able to tell. So that was an important part of this. I think that I'd like to see more of this from companies that do have security flaws and they get this out there right away. So with that, I want to say thank you guys for watching and let me know what your thoughts are on this as well, because it's fun to read your comments and it's fun to see your perspective as well. So with that, thank you guys for watching, supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. If you guys have anything else you want to make sure you do, like, share, like, and subscribe, hit that bell icon. Be sure to do that on the way out. Until next time, God bless.